Jenna, welcome to the show. It's amazing. It's a pleasure. I mean, what can I say? What better way to start an epic week with someone as epic as you? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Dan.
I love it. I love it. So, yeah. So let's dig in here. Let's start the interview, and now let's go back in time a little bit here and tell me how your acting career started. Like, where the journey begins, basically.
Okay, well, I think I first got the acting bug when I was in grade 6 and I auditioned for the school musical, The Sound of Music classic. I was Marta, so the second youngest Von Trapp child. And from there, I just wanted to do it all the time. So I auditioned for all the other musicals and did a few more in high school. And then after that, I was like, do I want to continue this? I questioned it for a bit, but then I ended up, I'm originally from Winnipeg. So I went to the University of Winnipeg and got my Bachelor of Arts in Theater and just took off from there. And I moved to Vancouver 4 years ago to kind of switch gears a little bit because my background is in theater and musical theater, hence Sound of Music. And but I don't know, I wanted to change it up a bit and try my hand at TV and film, and Vancouver was the place to be. So I've been here for 4 years and it's awesome.
So basically, starting from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. Starting from the bottom, now we're here. Exactly.
Hashtag Drake. Which he's Canadian, by the way, so that's cool.
He is, I know. Represent.
I love it. I love it. Now, was it something else you wanted to do back when you were little? You know, because I mean, when we're little, we want to be, I don't know, astronauts, superheroes, policemen, like firemen. Like, what was your thing back when you were little?
You know what? I was thinking on this the other day, and I don't know. I mean, my sister has always been an inspiration to me, and she is also an actor, and she started it really young. But I was actually quite a bit more shy. And so acting wasn't right away something that I was like, oh, I got to do this. But then, yeah, as I said I started in grade 6. That's when I caught the bug. So kind of at that point, and then I was like, okay, wait, I can do this and I want to do this. And I guess, you know, people say like acting, it's hard to get into and it's hard to make it. But I don't know, after I graduated, I just decided that I wanted to continue on that path. So all I can remember wanting to do is acting. I mean, I have other hobbies and things that I enjoy, but yeah, from what I can remember is, yeah, I wanted to act.
There you go. I love it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't remember wanting to be an astronaut, although that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I did want to become an astronaut back when I was little.
You did? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a bit to get to astronaut status, though. But yeah, being able to be up there and seeing the Earth, that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah. You know, I did want it to become an astronaut because of Toy Story.
Oh, yes.
you know, like fly like
I love Toy Story.
like fly like Buzz Lightyear and everything. And I actually, So super quick here. There was there was one day that I went to my mom after the school. She took me to a friend's house, I guess. So we were like a bunch of kids playing and everything. And then the mom of this one friends called my mom immediately because I was on the second floor window about to jump because I was saying that I was about to fly.
Oh no.
So imagine that. So my mom ran over to the house. And of course she didn't like panic, or I mean she did panic, but she tried like to play it cool, you know, because if she was like acting panic, I could get nervous and then jump or, you know, fail. So what they ended up doing is that my mom was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, but wait. And as she was doing that, my dad was like entering the house, moving super slowly, and then he grabbed me and here I am. Otherwise I wouldn't be here, I bet.
Okay, well, I'm glad she caught you on time.
Yeah, and after that my astronaut days were done. So yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You're
But
like,
anyway.
maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah, no. But anyway, and moving on here like a little bit. Tell me like how you prepare a character. Now I get it, of course, that it depends on the role, but what are usually like? What is your approach? How you usually start the journey? Let's say.
Okay, starting the journey. Well, yeah, you're right. I think it depends on the role, but there are some things that I try to do each time. I like to give my character a bit of a backstory. Probably heard this before. It just kind of informs the character a little bit more, and yeah, I think it drives it a little bit more. So I give a backstory. I like to have a moment. I like to have a moment before and a moment after. So it's kind of like, we're always moving, right? We're always trying to push the story forward. So that kind of helps. Often I will use a substitution. I find, again, depending on the role, it I it doesn't always help me as much, but sometimes, again, depending on what the scene is and what it calls for, a substitute can be really, really helpful. Um, I like to do a lot of writing. I kind of just pull out a piece of paper and just start writing as if I am the character and put myself in their shoes and how they're feeling that day of the scene. Like, are they feeling good? Do they just break up with their boyfriend? Do they have some sort of little secret, something behind it, right? Yeah, what else? Obstacles and having a scene objective, I think, is even for like a one or two liner, having something in there, it just, I think, helps it along a little bit. So yeah, what am I trying to do in this scene? And sometimes with the little smaller roles, it's just to kind of push up the main actor. So I don't maybe do it quite as much for the smaller bits, but yeah, I would say that's kind of my process, doing a lot of writing, putting myself in their shoes. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
I love it. That's super cool. And like how you break character.
Pardon?
Yeah, like how you manage to, you do the scene and you're like, okay, I'm back. You return to be the you and leave the character behind. Like, do you take your time to do it, or do you just like with a snap you're like, okay, I'm back, or like what is your thing, let's say?
Ooh, what is my thing? I mean, I think I think it's, you always bring a little bit of yourself into the character. But yeah, ultimately, depending on what your objective is, you kind of become that character. And I think I'm pretty good at, again, depending on what the scene calls for, pretty good at being like, okay, and I'm gonna put that away now and take some time to come back to myself. I don't think it's like a snap of the fingers, it's just completely gone, like, I had that day, and it sticks with you for a little bit, especially like the heavier scenes with the heavier subject matter. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of, almost a little bit of healing sometimes, even though it hasn't happened to you personally, but it has happened to your character. Sometimes you need to take a little time to, I don't know, to meditate or just have some quiet time and just, to remind yourself that happened. It was a story that you were bringing to life, and it might have been very emotional, but now you can kind of let it go for a minute. And because it can be, I don't know, I think it can be detrimental if you keep bringing those things along with you, because it can be really heavy. But yeah, so being able to turn it off, I think, is an important thing, but it doesn't happen right away. In my experience, I guess.
No, yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. Like a lot of sense.
Okay, good.
Also, like with some of the actors that I've interviewed, for example, the ones who played like in horror films, they will tell me that is super funny. Whatever, like the monster, or like like the monster of the film, before shooting the scene, you will see them drinking Starbucks and tweeting. Why not? And that is really surreal that you're about to play this very horrific scene, and then you see like full monster, like with like full costume on it, the blood and everything, and you will see like tweeting or say like, oh, good morning. You're like, what? that is like super surreal. Or like even after the scene, they would say like, you want to go to lunch? Like things like that, and you're like a couple of seconds ago you were like pursuing me and about to kill me, and now it's like, yeah, we're cool now. So
just turning it off. And that's okay, and everyone does things differently, and I feel like I can't say that I've ever played a character where I've had a crazy big costume that covers my whole body, but maybe it's different then because you feel like you're inside the costume or inside that creature, but then you can like take it off and be like, okay guys, let's go
do something. Yeah, why not? Full costume on. Why not? Let's go.
Let's just keep our costumes on. Yeah, freak out some people along the way. Great times.
Let's go have dinner. Like the other day, I was checking like some behind the scenes of The Walking Dead, and they were saying that it was pretty hilarious to see like the whole zombies full costume and eating, with forks and knives and just like chatting like normal people. That it was so hilarious. Yeah, like you would see like the like the zombie with the flesh hanging and things like that, and just eating, having a good time, why not?
Just living life. Even though
Real.
they're a zombie, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is very funny.
No, absolutely. Now, tell me, like, what has been like the toughest character you have played? Meaning, like, like that character when you were like preparing it, that it took you the most to prepare it. Like, there was something about this character that just took you more than usual to prepare this.
Yeah. I would probably have to say, when I was in an independent feature film, a horror film, it was a supporting character, and I would say that was probably the the hardest, the most challenging, but like a really good challenge for me. Like I wasn't daunting, but I would say that probably took the most preparation, did the most writing on that character, just to kind of relate to her a little bit more, because it was a period piece, happened a long time ago, and it would be a situation that I personally would never have come across. So well, I mean, maybe there are some things that could have popped up, but yeah, so I would say that was probably the toughest one, was being a supporting character in a horror, because it's funny, I want to do it all, but I would say my forte and what I really love to do is comedy. So that was another reason why I was like, okay, this is different, a horror, but I loved it. It was an excellent opportunity. The cast and the crew were amazing. We filmed on location in Alberta, and it was probably my top experiences, even though it was the most challenging. But that's, I think, part of the reason why it was my top, is because it challenged me, and because it took me to places I've never been before. So yeah, I would say that was 2.5 years ago, I guess, that we filmed it. Yeah, it was a good time. I still have very, very fond memories. I always will. So yeah.
And like in that horror film, spoiler alert, did your character get killed or not?
She almost made it, but yeah,
Oh,
she met her demise at the end. Yeah, it kind of makes you think. You kind of start to think, oh, she's gonna make it, but unfortunately, not so much. There was blood. We'll say that there was some blood.
Oh, okay, so there's no chance. Okay, so on the film is pretty clear. I mean, there's no like possibly, possibly she made it. No.
No, you're pretty. She didn't make it.
Okay, dang it. All right.
So sad.
Yeah. Now, like, what has been your funniest or worst audition you ever had?
Oh man, that brings up some memories. The first thing I think of is my worst audition, and we're always our worst critic, right? It probably wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I remember leaving just being like, oh my gosh, I'm never doing this again. Yeah. But it was when I was still in Winnipeg. And again, my background is theater and musical theater, so I was pretty new to the TV. So it was probably like one of my first TV auditions, and it was for a main role, which is great. But she had a lot of like scientific lingo, jargon, whatever you want to say, and I thought I was ready to go into it, didn't have my sides in front of me, which now I'm like, why didn't I just keep them in my hand? Like, whatever, it's okay. And this is, when it feels like I haven't been in a in-person TV audition in so long, but so this is way back pre-COVID. Yeah, I just went in there, and I knew my reader, and I knew the casting director. It was just the two of them in this small room. They're lovely people, and I fully blanked. Like, the reader started, and I was like, when you just kind of like wait there for it to come into your brain, and then it just doesn't happen. You hope that your brain is going to start making the connections to be like, oh yeah, this is what I say, but it just didn't happen. And they were so supportive. They were so sweet and kind to me, which is great, and they let me like try again. But yeah, I pretty much left that audition feeling mortified. So that, I would say, is my worst audition experience, but you have to look at it as a learning experience.
There you go. That's the spirit. Exactly.
I learned some things from that day.
Absolutely.
And yeah, there's always a silver lining. Didn't book it. Shocker. But that's okay.
I wonder why.
I'm happy that I had the opportunity, and exactly, I learned a lesson. Just like, it's okay to have your sides in your hand, as long as you're not like holding it in front of your face. If you have to look down, I mean, it's just the way it goes. So I think I went in feeling a little bit more confident than I should have. I should have just at least had it in my hand, but it's okay. That's what
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
But
I
I would
mean,
say that was my worst.
totally. I mean, you need to lose sometimes. I mean, you need to lose in order to win. You know, you take some
Yeah,
wins, some
exactly.
losses. That's part of life. That's life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I agree. Yeah. It all, I don't know. Sometimes I think things happen for a reason, and sometimes I'm like, what? I don't know. I think that was just the universe being like,
Yeah.
let's just sprinkle some not so happy, not so, not, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
No, yeah,
It's
but
just,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. You know,
you know what
like
I'm saying, Dan.
in moments like this, I'll tend to say like, what's important is that you get your maximum effort or things like that. You know, which
Yeah.
inside of me, I'm like, you know,
So positive. You're so positive. It's
yeah,
great.
I
But you
try
know
to.
what? In this industry, I think it's really important to stay positive because
Yeah.
it can be, it's a lot of rejection, you know, and it can be very hard. So it's good to have a positive spin.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end, actors do. I mean, actors don't do film for a living; they do auditions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
If we got paid for auditions, woo,
Make it rain.
we'd be set.
Absolutely, I love it.
But also, I had a coach tell me one time, like, yeah, the audition is your opportunity to act, to really do it, to bring it, right? So bring it. And yeah, that kind of really stuck with me because yeah, sometimes you're gonna book, but then a lot of the time you're not gonna book, but you had your opportunity to show them what you could do, you know? So like, yeah, take it seriously, do the work.
Absolutely, and now that we mentioned that part, like how you manage the rejection. I mean, nobody likes to be told you're not good enough or like to be rejected, right? Nobody likes it. So how you manage that to be like, okay, they didn't pick me, that's fine, I'll move to the next one. Like what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. It can be tough, especially if it's something that you were really close to or you really wanted or you thought you were gonna get it and then it turns out you didn't. You kind of just have to, I don't know what I do. I probably sulk for a little bit. But I also have an amazing support system, like an awesome boyfriend. I have great friends. I have a lot of actor friends as well who can relate, you know? And so it's good to just talk it out. You know, don't bottle it all in and be like, "Oh, I just suck and I'm never going to go anywhere." You have to like talk it out. It's okay. And I always find talking to my friends who are also actors makes me feel a lot better because we've all been there, you know? You have to like, yeah, I think the best thing to do is just surround yourself by supportive people who are gonna be like, you know, and this is something I say to myself, like it wasn't meant to be. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and there will be more opportunities, you know, and there are always opportunities popping up. So yeah, it just means that there's something better waiting around the corner. I mean, it does suck. Don't get me wrong. It does suck to be rejected, but you kind of just have to keep going. You kind of just have to keep the passion going and be hopeful, you know, and keep doing the work. It'll happen.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, you see, you're also super optimistic here. That's pretty cool.
I'm trying. Yeah, I try to be because I know I have not always. I've had my moments where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. But then I kind of think, no, that's stupid because I don't want to do anything else. I also teach and I love it and it's very rewarding, but I know that acting is my passion and I'm not going to leave it behind. I'm just going to keep going. Just keep trying.
Now, let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now, I don't have any experience, like zero. So based on what you know, what advice could you give to me in order to start this journey into, you know, not from zero and things like that?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely a believer in taking some classes. When I first moved here, I thought I had to be in a class like every month, all the time, right? But I think it's important to, you know, maybe spend a few months in class and then take what you've learned and use it. So I would suggest workshops, some classes, and that will kind of help you build your process for preparing for a character. I found that. Also, there are a lot of great resources online, or I've read some. And this was actually suggested to me from another actor friend who kind of took me under his wing when I first moved here, which I'm so grateful for him for doing that. He suggested Jenna Fisher's book. That's her name, right? Jenna Fisher. She played Pam in The Office. She's so lovely. And she wrote a book about her journey, really, like starting from zero and to where she is now. And it was really, she talked about like what to look for in your headshots. She talked about kind of what to expect, like when you first start out. So reading like actor biographies I found really helpful and inspiring. Sometimes it was a little bit like, I could relate to this. I really loved Bryan Cranston's book as well. I think he's a brilliant actor, so I read his. And yeah, they really give you and because they talk about their real experiences, it's inspiring. So I would say do some reading, and then you're gonna eventually have to find an agent. So do a lot of research, and if you know anyone, if again, and I'm sure you've heard this before, it's a lot about the people you know, right? Making the connections, doing the networking, again, putting in the time. And if it's something that you're really passionate about, things will just kind of start to fall into place. But I would say really reach out to people and talk to people and get advice. And because that's what I did when I moved to Vancouver. I was lucky. I was taking a class in Winnipeg, and she suggested some people to look out for in Vancouver when I moved here, and I immediately did that. And I'm really glad that I did, because that's kind of what's helped me progress living here and in my career. And it was all about the people who kind of guided me along. So find those people. And there's like Facebook groups, and there's the Vancouver Actors Guide has been really, really great. When I first got here, and I didn't have an agent yet, but I could kind of be submitting myself for smaller things and taking those little experiences and opportunities when they come. Like, jump on them. You're gonna learn. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Yeah. And also you can check my platform. Just saying.
Of course, yes, of course.
Right? I mean, there's material for everything. If you want to be an actor, if you want to be a musician, photographer, athlete. What else do I have? Oh yeah. Doctors. Oh, I mean, I have all. You name it, I got it.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So look out for things like Dan. Chat with Dan.
Love it. I mean, we already have a community, so we're good.
Yeah, it's great. Community. That's awesome, Dan. Like, community, building your community. That's gonna help. That's gonna guide you.
Something fun about it. Now that I mentioned that, like, something fun about it is that sometimes I will interview the best friend of someone that I've interviewed in the past, or that someone that I've interviewed knows someone else who I will interview later, and then that one knows someone. So it's like everything, like how it's connected. It's amazing. I love it. So.
It's great, and it's true what they say. It's a small world.
Oh yeah, way
connections.
Too small.
You're like,
yeah,
wait,
like
what?
Way too small.
Whoa, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now moving on here, let's say that one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it, they call you and they tell you that they want to make a film in which it goes that all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. Tell me, what would be the name of that film?
What would be the name of that film? Yeah. Well, that's funny. It's funny to envision like a table with all of the characters I play, with a nice birthday cake. I do like cake. What would it be called? Like multiple personalities? Oh, what's that movie with James McAvoy?
Oh yeah.
Split, I think is what that's called. Something in that vein, like the split lives of so and so. I don't know, Dan. That's a tough question. What would it be?
And what would it be? Like, what genre? Horror, comedy, dark comedy, drama, dramedy, action?
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, I said earlier I like to do comedy, but I grew up watching action movies, so I love action. You know what? Let's say a dark comedy, because that's a little bit of like, I mean, there's some laughs, but there's also like a lot of heavier subject matter in there. Make it a little bit more substantial. So yeah, it's gonna be a dark comedy, Dan.
Okay. And on which platform would you choose? Disney,
HBO, Netflix? Well, I usually watch on Netflix or Prime, but let's make it an HBO.
Only $9.99. Okay, only $9.99 if you pay your subscription monthly. Just saying.
There you go. Only $9.99 to watch Jenna's multiple personalities dark comedy. Love it. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that's a fun question. I want to think about that more. I didn't really come up with with a good title. Maybe I'll keep it like buzzing back here in my brain. Maybe something will come up later on.
And would we have a sequel or just one?
Oh geez, just one. I think it's gonna say all it needs to say in just one.
Really?
And it's gonna be really good.
Okay. And no prequels, no something like that?
Ooh. No, just one.
Okay. Simple.
Maybe like
cool. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. There are a lot of movies that have really great sequels, but sometimes it's like, oh, you should have just left it at one, because the first one, just like some of them are just so good, and then you get really excited for a sequel, and you're like, oh, okay. It's just a little disappointing.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I guess if there was an option for another one, I shouldn't let that scare me, because I'd hope that it would be another great film, but I'm gonna stick with one.
Okay, we'll leave it like that. Perfect.
Okay.
And if you could describe your career on a drink, what would it be? Now you could choose one that it's already made, or you can create one.
So if my career was a drink?
Yeah, let's say that if I go to a bar and I want to order your career, what would it have?
Oh boy. I feel like it would have to be some sort of bright color.
Okay.
It's funny because I keep thinking to when I did a children's touring show, and it was very colorful. So that's where the color is coming from. But yeah, also I've done some horror and some not as colorful things. Oh gosh. This is a hard question. Something, I think it would be in a martini glass. That's what comes to my mind.
That's fancy, okay.
Yeah, and I think maybe something that's like a dark purple, perhaps. Maybe some gin. It would be gin based because I really enjoyed gin. That's probably my drink of choice. If it was an alcoholic beverage, doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be alcoholic. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it would just be a pink martini or a purple martini of some sort that tasted really good but not too sweet. Like I don't like it to be. I wouldn't want it to be too sweet. I know there are a lot of people who like their sweet beverages. That's fine, but for me personally, because it is my career, I mean, I'm a sweet person, but you know, I have darker sides to me. So it's gonna be a gin-based purple martini.
And how would you call it?
Oh, what would I call it? I have to give it a name. Can I just call it like the J cocktail? J.
Yeah, I mean, is your drink?
I'll take a J. Give me a J.
That
sounds. Yeah. Let's go with a J today, Dan. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I love it. And you know what? I'm actually been working on this episode in which I'll be basically making drinks out of all of the ideas that you guys told me from the drinks, and I'll be trying each and every one and be like, okay, this career is good. I'll be like, oh geez, okay, no, this career is super tough, you know?
That's so funny. I just had a thought, how is it going to be purple? But there is purple gin, so it'll just have to be some sort of, I think, like, what's it made out of? I'm not sure, but there is a gin distillery in Winnipeg. Actually, I keep going back to where I was born and raised, but they make some really amazing gins, and one of them is purple, so maybe it could be made from that gin.
There you go. We got it already.
J gin drink.
Now, if you could choose one of your characters to go out shopping with, which character would you take with you?
Man, good question. The first character that pops into my mind is when I played a character, again, it was a children's touring show, a stage show. Her name was Bubbleisha. She was very colorful and sparkly and sweet. And so I think she would be, and the show was about shopping.
There you go.
So I think that she would be good to shop with. But maybe after a little bit, I would probably get a little annoyed, maybe. But she initially would be fun to go shopping with. I'm gonna be honest. I personally am not a huge shopper. Like I don't love going to malls. I like buying gifts for people, but yeah, sometimes malls can be overwhelming. So someone who knows their way around. So I think Bubbleisha, she would be that person.
There you go.
Or I also, this is another character I played on stage, Henrietta Leavitt. She was actually a real astronomer. I think that she would be a fun person to go shopping with because along the way, I think I would learn a lot. I don't, yeah, I think she would just be a very engaging person to hang out with. So yeah, we'd probably go to some shops, maybe get some lunch, and it would be nice.
There you go. Okay. I like it.
Another fun question. I like
Another
it.
fun question. Yeah. I have another one coming up soon.
Oh boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Now, what about describing your whole career, but this time on a meal?
If my career was a meal.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I immediately think of pasta. I really like pasta, and I also like it because you can do many different things with it. And I feel like in my career, I would like to play a variety of roles. I would like to do the comedy, but do the drama, do the dark comedy, do the action, right? So I think pasta would be good because you can build it in different ways, I guess. Probably like a shell pasta baked with cheese. I'm also a very big fan of the fromage, the cheese. Yes, I like the cheese. So there'd be a lot of different kinds of cheese in there. And yeah, it would also be very delicious because
I bet.
yeah.
I mean, it's your career,
Because yeah, I want a delicious career. I feel like
and you got
I'm
it.
going towards that.
Absolutely,
It's happening. Yeah.
Okay, now, like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days that basically we just want to quit. You know, and it's so interesting because sometimes things might be okay. You know, nothing bad is happening, but suddenly we get into this idea that we should stop. You know, that we should quit our dreams and find something else. You know, or like, I mean, it tends to get like very dramatic. So my question here is like, what gets you out of those thoughts and pushes you back on this journey, on this road that you have been creating for so many years now?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, there are days where it feels harder than others. There are days where you feel so hopeful and great, and then there are days where you're like, well, should I continue this journey? But I think really it's just this sounds a little dorky, but the fire in your belly, the passion that just keeps you going. And I know I have that because I have had days where I'm like, oh, I could just get a really good career doing something else, teaching maybe. But no, I know I would be selling myself short because I know that this is my passion and this is what makes me the happiest. And having the opportunities to act and do what I love, but also connect with other artists like you and I are doing right now. Like this is really nice, and everyone has a really cool story and a cool, you know, just and advice and wisdom to pass on. And so I really enjoy making those connections. So I think that's what motivates me. I know it's where I'm happiest, and even though it's tough, I'm just gonna keep going for it because I know that there's more that's going to happen. And I would consider myself a fairly hopeful person, even when it doesn't seem very hopeful. You know, things pop up and you're like, and those are the things that kind of keep you going. And even if you're not like booking all the time, booking steadily, there are always things that you can be doing. And taking those classes and doing those workshops, doing the reading to be inspired, like keeping yourself inspired, I think is really good because it's easy to just kind of fall down a spiral of despair sometimes. That sounds dramatic, but I'm an actor after all. But yeah, just finding ways to stay inspired because we could just sit around and twiddle our thumbs, you know, but that's not going to help us. So you have to kind of find ways to help yourself and to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Talk to your, if you have them, talk to your moms. I find her to be a comfort. And my sister, who's also an actor, who knows what it's like to go through these hard times and the dry spells, and you know, she's an inspiration to me, and she helps coach me on some tapes and does tapes with me, which is that's a cool thing about how we use Zoom so much, because she's in New York. She lives in New York, but she still takes the time to like help me prepare. So yeah, that's also a big thing. And I mentioned it before, just surround yourself with people who are going to inspire you and who are going to say, you know what? You need to just like pull up your socks here a little bit and just keep doing it. If it's what you want to do, you just gotta keep going for it, you know? And I would say, yeah, the people are what motivate me, definitely. So get yourself a good support system, a good family, and yeah, that's what's helped me a lot.
There you go. I mean, there you have it.
Yeah, there you have it.
There you have it. I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles.
Absolutely.
I love it. I mean, at the end, what can I say, Jenna? I love what you do. I mean, I love speaking with actors because you guys are showing us that dreams can come true. You know, besides giving us entertainment, you know, give us like a reason to smile, cry, or get angry sometimes. I mean, you still give us entertainment, give us emotions, and that's super cool. The fact that you managed to do that, and also because we all know that it's super tough, you know, that it's challenging. But the fact that you're still there and you're still hanging on and you're still like searching and creating and doing things like that, that's pretty cool. That's pretty impressive. But it also, as I said, it shows us that everything can be possible. You know, that it doesn't matter if you are either working as a teacher or a lawyer or working in an office. If you have like a dream, you can still make it happen. And yeah, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. And I think you are too, Dan, from what I've heard from you. You're a go-getter. You're a dreamer, but you're a doer too. You're doing it. And I feel like I'm doing it too, even though it seems like a slow process.
Of course you are. Are you kidding me? You are really doing it. I mean, our next conversation is gonna be, hear me out. Our next conversation is gonna be, where can I put my next award on the wall? Because that was hear me on that. Or who knows? Maybe you will even get your own action figure. That would be cool.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Would be badass. I mean, that would be badass. So badass. So yeah, keep doing what you do, because as I said, I mean, it is super cool. It's inspiring, and I'm super sure there's people around you who sees you as an inspiration, because what you're doing, as I said, is not easy. I mean, we all know that it takes a lot of courage, and also that sometimes it can take you to very like vulnerable places. But the fact that you're still doing it, that's super badass. So keep doing it. Keep killing it.
I will. I'm gonna keep doing it.
There you go. Perfect. I also want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, make sure to go follow Jenna right now. I mean, the video's done, so go follow her. I mean, I'm gonna leave in the description below. I mean, let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Jenna. She's amazing. She's badass. And again, thank you so much. Have an incredible week. Keep inspiring. Keep creating. And I'll see you in the next one.
All right.
Here we go.